I want to talk a little bit about Stadium Series jerseys. Stadium Series jerseys should always be different. Stadium Series jerseys should be something kind of futuristic and kind of completely and totally out there. And right now, Colorado fans are hoping this is not the design for the brand new Colorado Avalanche Stadium Series jersey this season. But you know what? I really didn't want to do the video based on this one, and I'll tell you why. The mountain at the bottom is clearly a piece of fabric, and it looks very vinyl, kind of crappy. And if you look, it says small and medium at the bottom right over here, meaning it's youth-sized or kid-sized. So when you're looking at jerseys, if you're looking at youth-sized, they're different. It's a totally different beast than the adult-sized. That being said, I don't like the mountain. I don't. I get it. I understand that that's a throwback to Colorado Rockies and all of that other wonderful stuff. The problem is that the mountain you could have had at the bottom of the jersey, or, the way that their jerseys kind of look now, kind of, sort of. But again, if you're doing something with Stadium Series, you're going to do something different. The last time that Colorado had a Stadium Series jersey, it's this. And this, of course, is a Reebok. You wouldn't have an Adidas in this because Adidas didn't have the contract at the time. You have 5280, which is the elevation of the city, Mile High City. Really nice logo in the middle. And at the time it came out, people talked about how the numbers were huge on it. And it's because it's a Stadium Series thing. So Stadium Series jerseys tend to have the giant numbers and the player names on them. And the logos tend to be really, really large as well. Now that's bled over into jerseys in general. I don't mind that. I think the larger logos are nice. For instance, the Coyote here, this is actually much larger than it used to be on the older jerseys. So when you get a CCM or you get a Coho and you look at it, you go, wow, that's it. And that's the logo. That's how they used to all look. And so this one, at the time that it came out, people weren't a huge fan. I will say this. I've never been a huge fan of the fact that the neck has no give whatsoever. So for some people, if you have a larger head than others, you might end up, as you're trying to pull this over your head, hearing a crack and a pop here and there because it's just not large enough. But that's a minor issue, and the one since this, I haven't seen that problem. With this one here, the neckline's a little bit looser. I think this was the 2015. This one, of course, the issue I had with these is that the logo is very smooth. It's printed, it's screen printed on there, and much like the current Fanatics, it's all shiny and all that wonderful stuff, but it just doesn't have the quality. I have a Sharks in this design as well, because it was the Sharks that were playing against in that game. And the logo got bent at one point, and I can't get it out of there. Even this one here, there's a crease right here, and this logo doesn't get bent. And there's a little crease in there. Now on this one, it's a Jonathan Quick with the huge numbers. This, though, felt a little bit safe. It's basically their regular jersey with a little bit of different neckline. Their regular logo, just futurized. And the colors really weren't all that changed. So when people look at the Colorado one and, it's too out there, it's too crazy. If you play it safe, though, you end up with a jersey that's really kind of sort of forgettable. So what I'm giving Colorado some props for is it's a memorable jersey. The other option for Colorado might have been to go with something that's kind of sort of, boring. Now, where the Caps missed the mark on this was that they currently have a secondary for the Washington Capitals that's absolutely gorgeous. It is nowhere to be found on this jersey, which is too bad because the color's perfect. And the stripes, while comedic, this is a comedically large stripe on the bottom, makes it look like pajamas. If you put their secondary right here, you'd have a winning jersey that everybody would have bought. As it was, nobody bought this. So when you're Colorado and you're looking to design, you want to make sure that you're making a jersey that people are probably going to buy. And I think that Avs jersey, I do believe it's going to get bought. Sometimes when you're putting together your stadium jersey, Sometimes just taking something old and freshening it up a little bit can work. Having your regular logo, your regular colors and everything. I mean, it is plain on the back, but it is so sharp in the way that Toronto did this. But again, if you're going to mark them down, you could say that the Caps, who were playing against them in this one, were trying something completely different, and the Leafs kind of played it safe. They went with a standard logo, their standard colors, whereas the Capitals, that dark blue, that's a little bit different. This one, you've got Ready, I Ready, and on here, Honor, Pride, Courage. So, again, nice jerseys. Now, the reason that I show the Toronto after Washington is this. If Colorado's wearing a jersey that's going to be that experimental, if this leak is real, what I'm wondering is, do their opponents come out with a jersey that's just as experimental? So the Caps and the Maple Leafs, completely different jerseys, but that LA one that I showed you guys, that's exactly the same design as what San Jose came out with. So if Colorado's going to go with something crazy, now the last time that they had a stadium game, of course, Detroit was wearing their kind of a throwback but kind of futuristic looking stadium jerseys that had the stylized D on it, which is resemblant of other Detroit teams as well. Could we be seeing a game where we have two completely different looking jerseys? The one thing that I think is impressive with the Colorado jersey as well is that with that giant A on the front, there isn't really a logo. The logo is the jersey. So we'll see what kind of craziness we get. And again, I wanted to do a video where we talk about stadium jerseys a bit because they do tend to be a little more out there. And that's usually what happens. Yes, sometimes teams play it safe. And they get it right sometimes when they play it safe. Let's be honest. This is not an ugly jersey. This one's fantastic. But sometimes when you go with a little bit something more experimental, like that other Colorado one was, sometimes it works. Don't panic over the images that have leaked out. I do think that's what their jersey is going to be. But until we see the actual legitimate Adidas version of it, I'm reserving judgment overall. I want to see both stadium jerseys next to each other and see, are we going to have a fantastic looking game, or are we going to have one team that is just really crazy over the top new design and one that's played it safe? Because that can happen. Is the Colorado jersey ugly? Yes. Does that mean it's bad? Maybe. Some people may say it's bad. I can't argue that if that's the design. No, stop. If that's the design, I can't argue that it's beautiful and it's fantastic. But I can say it's something completely different. It's something nobody else has ever done. It's not a throwback to anything if that's what they're doing. And it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Let me know what you guys think about the Colorado design. I'll put a link in the description below this to the leaked images, and then we can decide whether or not this is just a prototype, which has been speculated by some. I think it's wishful thinking that it's a prototype at this stage, because it's ended up at a retailer somewhere who's leaked these images out. But what are we going to end up seeing? Are we going to end up seeing two teams with something experimental and different? Are we going to see Colorado being experimental and different, and another team playing it safe? Let me know what you guys are predicting. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Just tapping upon this video. I will talk to you again soon.